Title of this one is Am I the Astronaut for Being Upset by My Wife's Books? Okay. So before we get into that, am I the astronaut for being upset is a feeling, right? You can't be an asshole for feeling something. It's what you do with that can make you an astronaut or not one. So let's see where it goes. Me and my wife have been together for quite some time. Recently, she has dove deep into reading romance books, which I never really knew much about. That is until one of her books went viral on TikTok, and I was genuinely shocked at how vulgar and not safe for work those books can be. So I asked her about them, and almost everyone is the same or worse. I hid my displeasure because it's not my place to tell her what she can or can't read, but I did try to read some of her books in order to understand, and my lord, not all of them are so hardcore, but it shook me to my core. I realize they are just books and I'm not looking to control her, and for that reason I have not said a word, but deep down I do want her to stop. It has nothing to do with romance, it is just the spicy scenes are so graphic it makes me uncomfortable. I do not want to ask her to stop reading them, but I don't know what to do. It's been weeks and I have been hurting because I can't just wrap my head around it. Small disclaimer, I am neurodivergent, more specifically ADHD, OCD, and anxiety. I don't know if some of those things make me react differently to the content specifically, but it does cause me to obsess over things. I do not want to ask her because I know she would stop for me without a doubt, but I want her to be happy and have a good time. Any advice on how to proceed without being an astronaut would be appreciated. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. So the question is, am I the astronaut for being upset by my wife's books? Again, you can't be an asshole for feeling something, but you definitely could be for allowing that to drive you into the wrong kind of actions here, right? You're not the asshole for being bothered by that, right? I don't think you can control what you do or do not feel. Processing that and figuring out what to do with it is a completely different deal, though. But yeah, Lady Van Landingham for sure. The fixation is what is definitely making it worse here, and I think understanding that you have something that is causing you to fixate that is really where the focus should be now. Okay, I know I'm fixated on this thing. I know I easily fixate on things. How do I stop fixating on this thing? Find something else to fixate on, okay? You don't have an issue with her reading this, but reading it makes you uncomfortable, so don't read it. But just the fact that she's read it makes you uncomfortable? I don't know. I feel like Candy Thunder, if you were reading spicy romance novels, I would have no problem with it at all. So, I'm just interested in getting your take on this because, okay, if it bugs you, don't read it. But he said it doesn't make him think that she's less of a person. It just bothers him that she reads it. So, what are your thoughts here?
I think that this is a him problem.
And I was thinking the same thing, but I feel like I can't say that out loud.
No, I was wondering if reading stuff in the books is something that they, they're husband and wife, they're having sex. That's totally normal, fine. I know, right? Oh my gosh. Shock. So I think maybe he's feeling like he can't live up to the romance novels. And so maybe it makes him feel a little bit inadequate, which it's a book, like it's fiction. Like this is not real life. And if she's not putting like that pressure on you to, because sometimes people can read a book and think that that's real life, and expect that to happen, like expect your life to unfold like a romance novel, and that's not real life. But if she's not putting that pressure on him to achieve these unachievable goals, then let your wife read her smut, and who cares?
To Anne's point, like imagine how he could benefit from this. I'm thinking the same thing, but then also my man says up here, that's the username, not me saying says this gives me the whole, if you have a dream about somebody else, that's still cheating kind of vibe. Maybe, but I think OP has acknowledged here that it doesn't make them uncomfortable or make them think any less of their partner. It just reading that kind of stuff makes them personally uncomfortable, which is an easy fix. Don't read it, right? But it's the fixation. The fixation is where this is a problem in here. And to your point, Candy Thunder, there are, I've heard of a lot of people, even people that have been, connected to my personal life in the past who got lost in books to the point where they couldn't, like their spouses got lost in books and kind of absorbed that they should be real life. And that completely gave them an unachievable benchmark for real life. And it destroyed their relationship. So to your point, that is a real possibility. If that doesn't happen, though, Like, what is the harm going on here?
I mean, if your wife isn't, like I said, isn't giving you those expectations that you're supposed to live up to this whatever's happening in her book, then I think you might be. It's definitely a you problem. You're reading too much into it. It's probably just something that she likes reading or being stimulated in that way. And I mean stimulated, like reading it, not in that kind of way. And maybe she should. I don't know. And it doesn't matter. That part of it doesn't. I don't think that matters. Maybe ask your wife why she reads them, what she gets out of it, and maybe then you can understand it better. I mean, he has to know, or he's not. Like he said, he's OCD. He's neurodivergent. He's going to fixate on this. He's going to want to know the whys. And
unless he finds something to swap for that fixation. But I think if they dive deeper into the conversation at this point, I think the surface level understanding that he has right now is that he doesn't have a problem with it. He's just fixated on it. So swap it and fixate on something else so that you can move on. If they stick with this and continue in the conversation and he asks why, I feel like he's going to start fixating on that now instead. And that's just it's going to be a rabbit hole that he can't escape, and it's going to end up causing them actual problems.
I think whenever I was younger, the Twilight series was something that captivated me in that love story. And my life wasn't like that. Like, it was real life. And so it made me feel...
Is that why you keep putting glitter on my face?
Yeah. But that's what,
and
like, I wanted that love.
Really fast.
Like, I wanted to feel that. And I didn't feel that. And so I thought that something was wrong. And I think that goes hand in hand with, like, living in your own reality and not... But it doesn't seem like his wife has that issue, like, where she is projecting this onto her real life. I think she just reads them because she enjoys reading them.
It is interesting that OP says that he has no doubt.
Vampires don't sparkle.
OP has no doubt that their partner would stop reading them for OP.
Right. I mean, so it sounds like they have a healthy relationship, and this is just something that he didn't know she was doing, and so it's a shock to him.
Right.
But I don't think that he's wrong in feeling the way that he does about it. It's a him problem, and I would not project that onto your wife. I wouldn't make your problem your wife's problem because she doesn't have a problem up to this point. Yeah.
Well, and dissecting the title even differently here, Am I the Astronaut for Being Upset by My Wife's Books? Him reading those books made him upset. I don't know. I would think that there has to be a way to swap, like to intentionally fixate on something new, if for no other reason than to keep him busy and give the back of his mind time to process and accept.
Dustin and I, even last night, like, we bickered because we differ on that. I like to talk things through till I have no breath left, which, as you know, doesn't take very long. But I have to talk, and he does not want to talk. He wants to internalize and focus on solutions and not talk until
I need time
he's comfortable
to process.
So it's funny that was brought up.
Yeah, I need time to process, and if I don't have time to process, the communication is very messy, and we'll end up in an argument. And she needs to talk, so finding some kind of balance there is difficult. Like, that's a difference, but I don't think differences are incompatibilities. It is just there's a compromise in there somewhere. In this case, it is something that OP understands is a them problem. They just have to figure out how to process that and how to accept that and not force their issues with this literature onto someone else. As solid as I feel like we are, those communication styles can still be a complication. Like in Last Night it was, if I don't have time to think and to process, and whenever I take in something stressful, I need to get away and let my mind fixate on something else. So in the back of my mind, I can be working that problem. I'm not going to find a solution by sitting there talking it through right then. And that's just one of the areas where we vary, but I think it's, you find a way to work through it somehow.